Well, hello, our fellow friends, our fellow neighbors, and our fellow shining stars. Our next trolley stop is here, and our next trolley stop is now. Welcome back to another all-new episode of the PR from the Heart Children's Book Spotlight Series. To be precise, we have reached episode number 147. That is the 147th trolley stop here at PR from the Heart and the Children's Book Spotlight Series. My name is John Masiulionis, manager here at PR from the Heart. I am super excited to be able to reconnect with all of you, wherever you are, wherever you may be. We're literally just a few days away from the unofficial start of summer. Raise your hand if you're excited for summer. We see many hands on screen. We see a bunch of the hands from the little ones as well too. And raise your hand if you are almost excited for the start of the summer reading season. We see even more hands on screen for the almost start of the summer reading season. It's so important, especially right now, with us being parents, caregivers, custodians of little ones. Our children really not only are our future, but they are our present. Present and presence. And there's times when little ones are moving forward with their next steps. A lot of little ones are graduating. They're going from kindergarten into first grade, or they're going from third grade into fourth grade, or even, for the little bit of the older, bigger ones, when you're going from 8th grade into high school, even us as big kids, let's say we're starting a new job, a career, we're becoming a parent for the first time, we can have a lot of self-doubt. We can have a lot of apprehension. We can have a lot of anxiety and a lot of insecurity. And it's very interesting because I found myself recently at a beautiful place here in San Diego called the Flower Fields. And they have a place called the Butterfly Garden. Now, how amazing is that, by the way? And what you see on screen right now is a picture of myself in the butterfly garden sitting on a butterfly chair. And I had to think about that for a couple of seconds. And I said, you know what? There's something in the drinking water about the message of it's a time to fly. It really is a time to fly for ourselves. And it's important that we are sharing this message to our youth, to our little ones in the process. And thanks to a brand new children's book and one of our newest neighbors here at the PR from the Heart family, children who we can refer to as young doves. When you think of doves, they're very peaceful, they're very elegant, they're very graceful. Young doves are learning to fly. We are turning I can't into I can. Thanks to the newest member of the PR from the Heart family, we encourage all of you, listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, and of course our fellow shining stars, to be able to head on over to Amazon.com and purchase your copy of I Can ... Just Try, courtesy of one of our newest neighbors here in the PR from the Heart family. If Amazon is your preferred online vehicle that you're choosing, you can leave a 5-star review for I Can Just Tries. That is one of the many ways that you can pledge your support for children's author who has birthed this beautiful new children's book into the world. I Can Just Try. She is the owner of Mother Doves Academy LLC. The trolley travels all the way from San Diego, cross country, almost to Chicago, Illinois. Theresa Smith-Hickman is joining us as our featured guest here this week, here in our neighborhood at PR from the Heart, episode number 147 of the Children's Book Spotlight Series. Theresa, we appreciate your free time in joining us. How are things with you this week?
Thank you, John. Everything this week is going so well. Thank you so much for that introduction.
I am really looking forward to our interview and to our conversation, not just because we're celebrating the countdown to 150 episodes here at the Children's Book Spotlight Series, but this message resonates on so many different levels. And I think it's a very timely message. And so I'm really glad that we're having this communication, that we're having this Children's Book Spotlight Series episode. So we encourage all of you, if this message is already inspiring you, if it's lifting up your spirits, if it's bringing more joy and healing into your mind, your heart, your soul, if this is a message that you feel needs to be shared with someone needed, especially a little one who is maybe going through some self-esteem issues, some self-worth issues, wondering, can I do this? Can I succeed in this? Can I do what my heart is longing for and desiring? We encourage you, if you haven't had the opportunities to do so, to subscribe to PR from the Heart's official YouTube channel, and to share this very special trolley stop that is episode number 147 of the Children's Book Spotlight series. Theresa, your work is fantastic. This book is wonderful. I've had the opportunities to read many children's books over my 41 years on this earthly plane. And the first thing that came to mind when I read your book is, I wish that my little boy, me, little John, had this when I was growing up. Because I know growing up, even when I was in preschool, I had a stuttering problem. I think this is really the first time that I've actually shared this publicly, believe it or not. And, I had a lot of insecurities and vulnerabilities, and, it would have helped if there would have been, I had some great people in my life, wonderful teachers, wonderful and amazing earth angels. But this book, I'm so excited for you, and I'm so excited for the kids, because this is making such a big impact, and it's really striking chords on many different levels. We always like to start each Children's Book Spotlight series episode to share the origin story, your origin story. So there's obviously your work as a children's author. There's your work as an educator and as a tutor, and also as a storyteller. So there's different things to be able to share in the process. But I think that the best question to start off our conversation is, when did you know? When were those seeds planted in your mind and in your heart? When did you know that your purpose here in this lifetime was for the kids?
Absolutely. Thank you, John. When did I know? I've known for a really, really long time, ever since I was a little girl. I had so many teachers in my life who inspired me as a little girl, and I said, one day my purpose will be to inspire more girls and boys, just like I had that opportunity as a little girl. So growing up, there were many different things that I wanted to do, but ultimately I knew for sure that I had to be able to work with children in some way, shape, or form. I have so many different hats in which I do that today, but it's so surprising that when I was just a little girl myself, I said, one day I'm going to be able to work with little girls and boys just like me, just like Terry, to be able to remember that they can do anything. And so it's been a long time, and I'm here today just to continue to do just that.
You are one of the most dedicated and focused children's authors and people that I've met in my life. You're very clear in terms of mission and purpose. And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about in our conversation, if that's okay with you, is the importance of mission and purpose. There's many of us that are just kind of like floating around like a breeze, and we're just kind of going from one thing to the next. But mission and purpose is so important, especially with us starting to come outside of the pandemic, being on the other side of things. Yes. We're knowing that we have a limited shelf life here on this earthly plane. I believe that one of my favorite authors, Dr. Wayne Dyer, referred to our life is a parenthesis in eternity. So it's born on this date and transition on this particular date. Could you talk to us, could you share with our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, on the importance of mission and purpose for you, and why you feel that whether you're a children's author, your purpose is for the children, for the homeless, maybe it's some other sort of advocacy group, why do you feel that mission and purpose is important to us as a collective right now as well too? But starting off, why is mission and purpose important to you?
Why is mission and purpose important to me? Well, I would have to say simply because it shows us who we are. It shows us the way in which our lights are supposed to shine brightly, right? So we are all put on this earth for a reason. We are all put on this earth for a purpose, and in which we're supposed to go out into the world and allow our lights to shine oh so brightly that people know exactly why we are here, right? And so for me, I feel like my mission is to inspire young girls and boys. My mission is to make sure that they know that they can be confident and competent individuals in their future. My mission is to make sure that little girls and boys don't sit back on the sideline and say that they cannot do something, but more so just use their skills, use what it is that they love to be able to do great things. Terry, she was afraid, and I know we're going to get into it. She was afraid, but she also had a lot of different things that that she was talented in. And the goal is to make sure that our little girls and boys know that they can do just that. Whatever makes them happy, go out and pursue it, because their purpose is greater than themselves, and they have to continue to inspire other people. So,
I love it. I love that you're communicating that, because as I had alluded to beforehand, is that in life, we obviously experience a range of emotions and feelings. There's days where we wake up and we feel invincible, like the 80s Pat Benatar song. We feel like we're invincible. And then there's days where we feel very unsure. And we question our next steps if we're on the path that's, kind of like the God send me a sign that I'm on the right path kind of thing. A lot of people who tune into the Children's Book Spotlight series are stepping into something new for the first time, whether it be new career, writing their first book, illustrating their first book, just stepping into a new season of their life. What were some of the challenges, difficulties, obstacles, problems that you experienced early on in your path as an educator and as a children's author? And then what were some of the things that helped you to get through to the other side of that? Because of course you are on the other side of that, because here in my hand I hold a copy of your brand new children's book in the process. So how does that land with you? What were some of those challenges and difficulties that you experienced early on along the way?
So I'll have to say this, and I will have to go back all the way when I was a little girl. For those of you who do not know, Terry is in fact inspired by myself as a little girl. And growing up, I'm a little lady, right? I'm 4'9", and growing up so many times I just felt like I could not do something, or I was a little bit hesitant to do something, or hesitant to try something because, I was little, or I thought someone might judge me. And as I continued to go throughout life, and my parents and my siblings and those around me continued to push me to just try, right? And so that's what kind of brought me to the point where I am today. This book, in fact, was written back in 2017. It was not released until 2021. And the reasoning behind that, in which I truly believe, is because, God said, not then, but now. He told me, he said, Theresa, there are a lot of girls and boys who are out here not believing in themselves. There are a lot of adults who are out here not believing in themselves, not going after their purpose, fulfilling their dreams. And I had to tell myself, if I don't do it, if I don't lead by an example, if I don't allow Terry to lead by an example, then other people will be left to not know which way to go themselves. And so this was my way of leading. This is my way of setting an example for girls and boys just like Terry, or adults whom are just like me, who was like, I don't know if I can do this, right? I don't know if it's my term, if it's my opportunity to say, let's go out into the world and try to do something different. But I took that leap of faith. And when I did, many people may or may not, they have someone that they believe in, but I truly believe in the Lord. And he told me, he said, this is your time. This is your time. And I jumped and I said, I'm calling out on you, and I trust in you, and I know you're going to take me where you want me to go. And so that's why I'm here today. My message is beyond just little girls. I know people look at the cover and say, oh, that's a girl book. No, it's for little girls and boys. It's for adults who just feel like they cannot and they will not. No, you can. All you have to do is just try. And that's the message that I want everybody to take away.
We're almost ready to dive into the pages of I Can Just Try. Again, for those of you who are just joining us and spending some quality time with us here in our neighborhood, we are joined by children's author, educator, and the owner of Mother Doves Academy, Theresa Smith-Hickman, as our featured guest here on episode number 147 of the PR from the Heart Children's Book Spotlight series. We are indeed enjoying I Can Just Try. We hope that you enjoyed as well, too. You can head on over to Theresa's official website, which we've included in the links in the description below, along with her social media platforms as well. You can purchase your copy of I Can Just Try also on Amazon, if that is your preferred online vehicle of your choosing. You can leave a 5-star review. So that's one of the many ways that you can pledge your support for Theresa, to remind her that she is doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, those who love great children's books in the process. Briefly, before we talk about the book, the message of self-esteem is inherently important right now when we're communicating with little ones. It's really necessary for everyone right now because in many respects, the pandemic was kind of like this giant baseball bat, and it knocked us down to size. It may have impacted people on different levels and spectrums, but in many respects, like I kind of think of the legendary boxing movie Rocky, that when you get down, it's about getting back up. And I feel that it's a matter of doing our part to instill more confidence in our little ones. And you're doing this in such a very meaningful and heartfelt and special way through your children's book. Could you take us back to when you knew that your first children's book was going to be about this message? Because again, with children's books, you can write about so many different sorts of things. Why the message of self-esteem and self-confidence? Why was it important for your book to be able to have that be have those themes be the primary themes of the book?
Well, as you stated before, I am an educator. And so I am in the forefront of our young boys and young girls. And so many of them start just not believing in themselves, especially during the pandemic time. Being online, virtually, having to learn and not feeling as confident and not having that adult figure in their face, kind of just encouraging them and providing that praise for them. I saw so much of it. I saw many kids crying online. I saw kids getting defeated really, really quickly because they didn't know how to do something or how to get someone to support them or help them, right? And so I Can Just Try was a message in which I said, our kids need today. I use daily affirmations with my students. I use them in order to make sure that they understand that they too are confident, that they too are kind and respectful, that they too can do anything that they put their mind to. And so this book is supposed to be used in sense as an affirmation, for I want kids to walk away saying, I can. All I have to do is just try. I can. All I have to do is just try. And when they do that, I believe that it will begin to change the mindsets of our little ones. And so that is the goal. I want them to change their mindsets and be their best selves.
I also love how the title of your book is really an affirmation. You know, and sometimes people might be like, okay, Theresa and John, you mean those things that you look yourself in the mirror and say, I love you, Theresa. And I love you, Jen. You know, we find ourselves in the mirror and saying, you're worth it. You're $1 million. And sometimes you have to fake it until you make it. But eventually, and this is where we transition into diving into the pages of I Can Just Try, we're introduced to Terry, who is this little girl who has some insecurities and some fears and some doubts. And she's able to move through those in a very graceful and elegant way, thanks to some fellow neighbors that are on her path. Without giving away the whole kit and caboodle, because we don't like to give away the whole kit and caboodle on the Children's Book Spotlight series, could you share with us a little sneak peek inside the book and really how Terry is inspiring children to move forward courageously in the next steps of their day, the next steps of their life, even if they don't necessarily know how things are going to turn out, or even if they don't know in their heart that they can do X and X, Y and Y, fill in the blank here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Terry is about, I Can't Just Try is about Terry, a little girl who always thought that she could not do something until one day she was inspired to just try. She was inspired by a teacher, a friend who encouraged her to just try, Terry, as one of the lines in the book states, just try, Terry. And Terry's like, no, I can't. But she eventually says, I can. All I have to do is just try. And so that's just a little snippet of what the book entails. I do believe that all girls and boys will enjoy the book if read to them or if they read it themselves, and it will inspire them to know, just like Terry, all they have to do is just try.
The importance of a support system. Let's talk about that. That's okay with you, because we see Terry, how does the expression go? It takes a village,
Yes.
right? And, you see a lot of wonderful people in the world doing amazing things, but there's also people behind the scenes that are helping to turn the needle in the process. I'm very blessed in my work as a children's author to be able to do some of the behind the scenes work, to be able to spotlight such beautiful messages such as yours in the process, which, by the way, little sneak peek, this is not the last time that you will be seeing Theresa on the PR from the Heart front, as we're going to be headed back to, I was going to save this for the end, but I guess it's coming up right now. We are going to be returning back to one of our favorite cities in the country, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to revisit some of our favorite neighbors at the Center for Media Innovation in downtown Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, at the campus of Point Park University, as David Newell and I will be joined in studio in just a few months' time. So just ask for your patience. And we're going to be joined by Theresa Smith-Hickman in the process. We're going to be talking more about her books. That's just a little sneak peek in the process. But could you talk to us about the importance of a support system and why that's really important for our little ones right now as we're heading into the end of the school year? Sooner than we know what the back to school season is going to be, literally upon us almost. And at that point, like, we're already going to be almost 2.5 years from the pandemic, and we're going to be seeing the most normalcy that we've had since the whole thing kind of began back in the spring of 2020. So could you share with us the importance of a support system and how that's reflected in your book as well?
Absolutely. Thank you. The importance of a support system. None of us were brought into this life alone. So that means that we are not meant to stand alone. We are meant to be ones who are a collective unit, building each other up, inspiring each other, moving each other to the next level. In this case and in this book, Terry had 3 women in her life, right? She had her mother, she had a teacher, and she had a friend. And so many of us tend to have those significant people in our lives, whether it's a parent, whether it's a close friend, whether it's someone that we inspire to be just like one day, right? And so it's important that we have those people in our lives so that we can do what it is that we've been called to do. We are not meant to stand alone. We are meant to be of support to each other. Mm-hmm. I give support unto you, you give support unto me, we support each other. And then from there, we can then go out into the world and begin to make even more greater impacts on more lives. I truly believe that we are here to make sure that everybody is successful. Not just one person, not just 2 people, not just that one family, but all of us. And it, as you can see in the book, they come from different homes. The characters in the book come from different homes, but yet they were able to support each other. They were able to make sure that one lesson that I learned, I want somebody else to learn. And you'll see that in the book. The other character in the story, she learned a lesson. She was like, I know exactly what you need to do, Terry. And she tells her, just try. And so we have to remember to just support each other no matter what, good or bad. We have to make sure that we go out into the world inspiring other people and allowing our lights to shine so that more and more people will be able to move forward. We're in this together. That's what I like to say.
We very much are. That's not just a cliche expression that we heard during the pandemic for a long period of time. We truly are all doing all of this together, one step at a time, one neighbor at a time. I wanted to share just one of my favorite things about your children's book is that when you see Terry at the very beginning of the book, you can literally see and feel the emotions and the feelings that she is experiencing at the very beginning. And at the very end of the book, one of my favorite my favorite illustration spreads is you have Theresa's mother holding Theresa and just acknowledging the fact that she's celebrating her little girl and how far that she's come. And there's almost a sense of relief. So I just really love,
Yes.
a lot of the times children's book illustrations, they are kind of like a story within a story. It's very easy when you open up a book, you want to get to the end, find out what happens. But I really love that you gave the attention to the detail of the illustrations of your book. So it literally, you're able to have more empathy, with Terry and her journey from beginning to end in the process. You're affectionately known as Mother Dove, which I think is absolutely adorable on so many different fronts. You and I are coined from the same cloth in the fact that we love to read stories to children. You obviously do with your story time with Mother Dove and your work through Mother Doves Academy, as I do with the PR from the Heart Storytime with Mr. John series here in the San Diego area. Talk to us a little bit about Mother Doves Academy, because this is something where, a lot of times children's office, it's just like, hey, I'm going to write this book and that's that. You're integrating everything so amazingly between your work as an educator and a children's author and your work as a tutor and a storyteller. Could you talk to us a little bit about the whole blending of all of that together? And then the question about storytelling and why that is so essential for our little ones right now, to be able to communicate with them and share them stories, especially through children's books.
Yes, so Mother Doves Academy is a tutoring / childcare service in which we provide services to children ages 2 to 10 years old, right? And our goal is to make sure, our mission is to make sure that we're fostering a love for learning. We're fostering this idea that they can do anything, right? Our tagline is, where young doves are taught to fly. And I call my children doves. And I call them that because I do believe that they can do anything, that they can fly, that they can soar beyond what they may believe at this time, or what maybe someone told them that they couldn't do something. No, you can. All you have to do is just try. And so the two, Mother Doves Academy as well as I Can Just Try, they're one and the same. They're one and the same. I provide these services to kids, but in the midst of me providing tutoring and childcare services, I'm also teaching them self-confidence. I'm also building self-awareness of themselves. I'm also making sure that they understand that, yes, this work may be hard right now, but it doesn't mean that you can't do it. It doesn't mean that you won't be successful at it. It doesn't mean that somebody else told you couldn't. Yes, you can. We're going to keep here trying. We're going to keep here working at it. And so that's what we do at Mother Doves Academy. We make sure our kids are learning and growing and being confident and competent individuals as they continue to go. As you stated, yes, I love story times. I love to read to the little ones. I actually have 2 events coming up really, really soon this month. One on May the 22nd. That is going to be at the Bazazian Branch Library, which is located 1226 West Ansley Street in the Chicago, Illinois area. And then I also have another one that's going to be on May the 28th at the Greater Grand Branch Library, which is located 1000 East 73rd Street. You can check them out on my Facebook accounts, and I'm sure John is going to let us know all of those different accounts that we
We got you
have,
covered.
as well as on my website. But I do have 2 events coming up: story times, in which I provide a read aloud of my book, I Can Just Try. And then not only do we do read alouds, because we still learning, I provide enrichment activities for the kids as well, and they're always free. So come out, hear me read, learn more about my business, about my mission, and what I'm out here trying to do to inspire young girls and boys just like Terry.
We're beginning to wind down our time with our featured guest here this week on the PR from the Heart Children's Book Spotlight Series. Children's author and the owner of Mother Doves Academy, Mother Dove herself, Theresa Smith-Hickman, is joining us as our featured guest here on episode number 147 of the PR from the Heart Children's Book Spotlight Series. You can head on over to Theresa's official website at motherdoveskids.com. You can also head on over to amazon.com if that's your preferred online vehicle of your choosing. You can leave a 5-star review if you feel guided to do so, of course, for I Can... Just tries. That is one of the many ways that you can pledge your support for Theresa to, again, let her know that she's doing incredible work for children, parents, families, educators, and those who love great children's books in the process. We always like to be able to provide some morsels of goodness, so to speak, some tangible information for parents, for educators, for grandparents, anyone who is a caregiver of a little one, to be able to just immediately implement after watching a children's book spotlight series to help the little one in their life. We've obviously talked about self-confidence. We've talked about self-awareness. What are some simple things, everyday things that parents, grandparents, caregivers, educators can do to be able to help our little ones grow and build their self-awareness and self-confidence?
That's a great question, actually. One of the things in which I try to do myself as an educator is to make sure that I lead by an example. We have to make sure that we put a stamp out there to our children that they too can do it, right? So one of my favorite quotes, a quote that I found years ago when I first became a teacher, that's over 15 years ago, it reads, "A good teacher is like a candle. It consumes itself to light the way for others." And that is one thing that I try my best to do each and every day, and which I encourage each and every one of you to do as well, as you continue to inspire more girls and boys. Lead, allow your light to shine oh so brightly that they will continue to go forth and do great things in their future as well.
I love this so much. I always find myself during Children's Book Spotlight Series episode just like writing all these great notes, because you're doing so much more than just fostering a love of learning for little ones, and you're doing it like you're so connected with your heart and with your purpose. A lot of times, and I think we're kind of starting to see a lot of people move beyond this. During the pandemic, we all wore masks.
Yes.
But many of us throughout our life, so we could try to fit in and stand out and be liked and loved, we wore those masks before we wore the masks. And you're just being very authentic in what you're communicating. And this is why it's such a blessing for us here at PR from the Heart to be able to help you and be the rocket ship and the engine to be able to get your children's book, I Can Just Try, out into the world in the process. We have 2 wonderful ways that we always close out each children's book spotlight series episode. We always love giving a little tip of the cap to one of our favorite neighbors, the beloved Mr. Rogers, who of course was the host of the long-running popular children's television program, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, that aired for many decades on PBS. He did this in different ways, shapes, and forms on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood when he spoke at commencement speeches across the country. And he did this most notably when he received his Lifetime Achievement Award at the Daytime Emmy shortly before he passed away from stomach cancer. He encouraged us, and he always kept the time, whether it be 15 seconds, 30 seconds, or a full minute, to remember those who helped love us into being. Those people, those earth angels who told us, you can. All you have to do is just try. Who would be some of the people that you would like to publicly recognize here in episode number 147 of the Children's Book Spotlight Series who helped love you, Theresa Smith-Hickman, into being?
Absolutely. So There's such a long list of people, and I don't want to miss anyone. I don't want to miss anyone. I do have a list of teachers in my book who I dedicate the book to, who did inspire me growing up. So if you get the book, you'll see that really lengthy list of those teachers who did inspire me. But I do want to recognize, most importantly, my parents, Keith and Olintha Smith. They are amazing. They always encouraged me. They always put me out there in the forefront, whether I was singing, whether I was playing basketball, whether it was me going out for a gym team or a dance team or whatever it was. They was like, no, you gotta go try, Theresa. You have to do it, right? And so I really want to thank my parents, Keith and Olintha Smith. I also would like to thank my siblings. I have 3 siblings. My brother, Keith Smith Jr., my sister, Yvonne Pettigrew, formerly known as Yvonne Smith, and then my other sister, Keisha Marshall, who was formerly known as Keisha Smith as well. So my immediate family are a great inspiration to me, and I thank them so much for just inspiring me to be who I am today.
It's so wonderful. It's so wonderful to be able to see that there have been so many people along your path and in your life that have helped to love you into being, because you're sharing such valuable information for our little ones right now, that children of all ages, including us big kids, I know that I've learned so much through just reading your children's book several times. And I always have this still here in my office. Here's this picture of my inner child. This is, I had a whole mop of hair. This is how it looked like in 1985, 1986. But when we would get our report cards, there was that glamour shot that we called, and that'd be right on the front of the report card. So whenever I read a children's book, there's always that inner child each and every day, whether I'm reading, whether I'm going outside and enjoying nature, whether I'm eating, I'm always doing my part to be more conscious and aware of connecting with my inner child. And again, I'm just so, I feel very almost moved to tears when I say this, because it really means a lot when I say this. There's little ones out there that don't necessarily have the support from mom and dad, or they don't have the people in their lives that believe in them. And I can just envision like the lives of little ones that you'll be not only transforming, but saving in the process, knowing the fact that your children's book can serve as a catalyst for them to be able to completely shift their paradigm, their mindset, and know that really anything can be possible, so to speak. And then lastly, you've given from your heart for many, many, many years for children, parents, families, educators, to those in the kidlit community as well, to your own family. So when we give in life, it's important to allow ourselves to receive. So as a little tip of the cap to one of our favorite beloved Disney animated classics, we go back to 1992. We remember the Genie of the Lamp. We remember the late Robin Williams, who voiced the Genie of the Lamp. And of course, that serves as the inspiration for one of our favorite segments here entitled 3 Wishes. So you are being given 3 wishes, Theresa. You thought this was a children's book spotlight series interview, and now it's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting 3 wishes. How super cool is that? So these wishes, they can be for yourself, they can be for your family, they can be for the children of the world. What would your 3 wishes be?
My 3, oh man. If I only had 3 wishes, I would definitely have to say, I would like for I Can Just Try to be in all homes for all young girls and all boys, because I do truly believe in the message behind the book. I believe that we have to make sure that our children remember that they can do anything. All they have to do is just try. So that will be wish number 1. Another wish of mine, I would say, eventually, I would like Terry to be inspiring more girls and boys on a greater scale. So I do want her to eventually be a Disney character. So if that would be another wish of mine. And then to just allow myself to continue to be true to myself, right? As I lead, as I inspire. I currently reside in the home of Bronzeville in Chicago with my husband, Aaron Hickman, as well as my little Yorkie Bella Blue. And they inspire me to just continue to be who I am. And I don't want to ever change that. I believe that who I am is a gift. I believe that I'm here to continue to make sure that everybody is still smiling. And so I want to always stay true to myself, stay true to who I am as I inspire more girls and boys. So those would be my 3 wishes if I was to be able to be granted those, I would say.
Well, I really feel that, how does the expression go? From our lips to God's ears. And I really believe that there's a lot of potent manifestation that's in the air right now. And I really believe that if something is meant to be, it shall be, because as it says on my bracelet that you wonderfully sent my way, it really does say anything is possible. I love the color orange because it kind of blends with blue. Those are 2 of my favorite colors. Again, we encourage all of you, listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, and of course, our fellow shining stars, to head on over to Theresa's official website. If you already haven't had the opportunities to do so, you can log on to motherdoveskids.com. You can head on over to amazon.com. You can leave your 5-star review if that is something that you feel guided to do, of course, because that is one of the many ways you can pledge your support after purchasing and enjoying I Can, ... I just love saying the ... I Can, ... just try. You can leave a 5-star review, one of the many ways that reminds Theresa that she is doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, those who love great children's books. It also helps with the Amazon algorithms as well, too, right?
Yes.
It's just so, all those Amazon algorithms. That's another conversation for another day. And I know that my inner child is super excited because I'm actually going to have, Theresa also sent some coloring sheets my way. So I'm gonna be cracking out the colored pencils shortly after recording this Children's Book Spotlight Series interview as well, too. This has been so much fun, but there are many, many, many more magical trolley stops to come as we head into the summer and the summer reading season here at PR from the Heart and the Children's Book Spotlight Series. As we are counting down to the 150th episode of the Children's Book Spotlight Series. Raise your hand if you have had fun on episode number 147 of the Children's Book Spotlight Series. See some many hands from Theresa and myself, the little ones on screen. We're all good with regards to that. We, of course, want to, before we thank all of you, we're going to be continuing to thank you over the course of the coming weeks and months ahead. If this message has inspired you, Theresa's message, the message of Mother Doves Academy, I Can, ... just try. Theresa's heartfelt story, if it has brought love and joy and healing into your mind, into your heart, if these messages you feel are very useful and supportive for a parent or a grandparent, a caregiver, a custodian of a little one, an educator of a little one who might be struggling with self-awareness, self-confidence, self-esteem, if you just really want to just pass along the good word and pay it forward, you can subscribe to PR from the Heart's official YouTube channel and share this very special trolley stop that is episode number 147 of the PR from the Heart Children's Book Spotlight Series. If you are a children's author, such like, for example, just like Theresa Smith-Hickman, and you would love for us to be able to help you in sharing your inspiring story, the release of your brand new children's book here at PR from the Heart and the Children's Book Spotlight Series, you can head on over to our official website at prfromtheheart.com, where you can connect with us via any of our social media platforms that you now see on screen, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at PR from the Heart. 3 tips of the cap. First of all, of course, to one of our favorite neighbors. We already mentioned him earlier in the Children's Book Spotlight Series. One of our favorite neighbors, you remember him and you love him as the beloved Mr. McFeely on the long-running children's television program, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. We know him and we love him as David Newell. If you are a children's author and would love for us to be able to share your brand new children's book and review it on a forthcoming edition of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, which is where David and I take the time to deliver heartfelt reviews from the newest children's books from the shining stars in the kidlit community at PR from the Heart. Just as a little aside, a little teaser, that Theresa will be joining David and myself at the Center for Media Innovation in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in the month of September for our September bookcast. So if you're feeling called and guided to work alongside PR from the Heart and have David and I share your brand new children's book on a forthcoming edition of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. You know where to connect with us at prfromtheheart.com or any of our social media platforms. One tip of the cap to one of our favorite neighbors, Laura Kavanaugh, who is the host and executive producer of San Diego Living on CBS 8, the CW San Diego, the official home of Empowering Reads for Kids. That is the official television book review segment here at PR from the Heart. So if you are a children's author and would love for Laura and I to be able to share and review your brand new heartfelt children's book and share it with children, parents, families, and educators in America's finest city, San Diego, California, with all due respect to Chicago, Illinois, of course, it is known as America's finest city, to have your brand new children's book be featured on a forthcoming edition of Empowering Reads for Kids on CBS 8, the CW San Diego. You know where to connect with us at prfromtheheart.com or any of our social media platforms on screen. And of course, one of the many ways that we love to give back to children, parents, and families here in San Diego is through the PR from the Heart, presented by PR from the Heart, the Unity of El Cajon story time with Mr. John. We love working with some of our favorite neighbors at Unity Church of El Cajon and being able to provide these special monthly storytime episodes. We've already done 5 storytime episodes. There's so many more to go, especially for children who are just developing a love of reading. This is such a great and useful resource. So if you would love for me to be able to share your brand new children's book on a forthcoming edition of the Unity of El Cajon Storytime with Mr. John, presented by PR from the Heart, you know where to connect with us at prfromtheheart.com and any of our social media platforms at PR from the Heart. One final time, you can head on over, but it should not be the last time that you head over to Theresa's official website. You can head on over to motherdoveskid's.com. We've included Theresa's social media platforms in the description below. I'm looking for like the emoji that goes like this, right? There we go. And you can head on over to amazon.com, leave a 5-star review for I Can ... Just try. This has been such a wonderful episode of the Children's Book Spotlight Series. And again, there are many, many more to come. We want to thank all of you, our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, and of course, our fellow shining stars, for your continued support of PR from the Heart, for your continued support of the Children's Book Spotlight Series, for your continued support of children's authors and illustrators such as Theresa, who are doing, again, wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, those who love great children's books, and the inner child within us all. For your continued support of local libraries and children's and independent bookstores, which are truly the pillars of our community. But above all else, we want to thank you for helping us to walk home, the children of the world. One last time, one last recognition of our favorite neighbor, Mr. Rogers. He reminded us each and every day of our worth and our value. In his own way, he said, I can, you can, ... just try. He reminded all of us that we have inherent worth and value. In his own private numerology, he shared 143, which is and was his way of saying, and he still shares it from above, 1 letter in I, 4 letters in love, 3 letters in you. That was his way of saying, I love you. Since Theresa was very kind enough to join us this week as our featured guest on the Children's Book Spotlight Series, we like to remind you 243. That is our way of saying that we love you. There's 2 letters in we, 4 letters in love, 3 letters in you. That is our reminder that you are loved, that you are whole, you are healthy, you are complete, that you are loved, that you are special, just the way that you are. Just the way that God made you. And that you can. ... Just try. For Theresa Smith-Hickman, for myself, John Masiulionis, thank you for enjoying this wonderful episode of the Children's Book Spotlight Series, and we'll see all of you as we hear the trolley. Of course, when we hear the trolley, we know that it's time to go. So again, for Theresa Smith-Hickman, for myself, John Masiulionis, thank you for spending some time with us here in our neighborhood, here at PR from the Heart, and thank you for enjoying episode number 147 of the Children's Book Spotlight Series. Thank you for helping us to walk home, the children of the world, our fellow friends, our fellow neighbors, and our fellow shining stars. Goodbye for now.
Have a great day.